Hey everyone, Shabba Gamer here, and welcome back to another random match here on WWE 2K17. Now this one has been suggested by Fabian Schluter, who also got a match on yesterday, so he's doing pretty well at the moment. He suggested Rowdy, Roddy Piper and Ric Flair to take on the Enforcers, of course, Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson. Now, in hindsight, the SummerSlam Arena in 88 probably wasn't the best idea, because I don't honestly know actually. I've got a feeling this is more of a WCW match than a WWE. I don't honestly know. You might have to let me know in the comment section whether you think this should have been a retro WCW arena or a retro WWE arena. But I like it. I want to try some of these other arenas, and I quite like this one. It's going to come in pretty useful in our retro universe mode. Should we go and do that at some point? So the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Of course, we know that Ric Flair was part of the Four Horsemen alongside Arn Anderson, and I think Zbyszko may have been in the Four Horsemen at some point. I might be making a fool of myself here, but I might be wrong. Retro wrestling is not really my strong point. You have to let me off on this one, I think. I know the Four Horsemen, I think Zbyszko might have been in there at some point. A bit of a shame that Roddy Piper's not on this year's game. I don't know why. He's been on the last couple of years, and I don't know why they've dropped him from this year. His model would be on file, so I don't quite know why they've done that for. Because he's a big man, he's a big part of the WWE and wrestling history in general. So it's a bit of a shame that he has dropped off. Because I think there's some people on the game that don't really make a lot of sense compared to Piper being missing. But then again, it's the same with a lot of things. Of course, we all know the Owen Hart situation, and I feel that soon Owen Hart will make it onto a WWE game. I feel that the tension between WWE and his wife may start to settle down a bit now, and it'll be nice to see him on the game. Of course, we have got a created version of Roddy Piper, which isn't too bad. The attire's spot on. Not quite sure the face is 100%, but still, and the sporran's pretty... Is that a sporran? I think that's a sporran. So I'll just listen to the music there for a second. That's more Irish than Scottish, but there we go. It doesn't matter. We'll get by. We'll get by. And this may be the first time we've actually seen a created wrestler in one of our random matches, which is pretty cool to see. Now, I know, obviously, Flair and Piper had a lot of history together as rivals, seeing them together as a team. I think they may have teamed up on quite a few occasions. I tried to Google it before recording this, but I couldn't find this specific match anywhere in history. But I'm looking forward to seeing it, actually. We haven't really done a proper retro match yet in our random match series, so I'm really looking forward to getting this one underway. And of course, as I mentioned earlier on, suggested by Fabian Schluter, so if anyone else has any suggestions for random matches, then please do drop them in the comment section below. We'll get them added to the hat and obviously pull them out before I record and get you a shout out in the process. And here come the Enforcers. I don't really use them that much in 2K16, to tell the truth. I think we had one or two little looks at him. I think we may have had him involved in our retro universe at some point as well. But apart from that, we never really got a lot of use out of them. And it's a bit of a shame because Arn Anderson, of course, is quite a legendary wrestler. Arn Anderson, what was he? Is there something of the... Well, of course, he's got his spine buster, hasn't he? The AA spine buster. To which Bobby Roode now uses his R spine buster, doesn't he? Direct sort of shout out there to the Enforcers, I suppose. And here we go, Ric Flair. I think he's actually very, very high rated on this game. I think he's about a 91, so it'd be interesting to see exactly how this pans out. I want to see some more of Flair actually in this game. So if you do have any suggestions involving Flair, maybe a Flair versus Sting, or I'm assuming that some people watching this video are going to be much more interested in more retro matches, because I do know there's different. That's interesting. I do know there's different sort of. Crowds on each match, it looks like, and this is a little bit more outside the box. Of course, at the moment we've had a lot of AJ Styles, a lot of Finn Balor, a lot of Shinsuke Nakamura. So it's nice to get something a little bit outside the box. But of course, I don't make the decisions of which matches are going to be recorded. I do have them all. I've made a little. Sounds sad, but I've made a little thing at work, a little sort of slip of paper, and. I put every single match on that little slipper, or on different slips of paper, put them in a big hat, fold them all up so I can't see what it is, and then before I record I just pull a couple out, and I quite like that because it takes away the pressure from me as well. Last year I had a big list and I was trying to find the ones that people would enjoy more and try to make sure everyone got a fair go at their matches being put on there, but I thought the best way is just do it randomly, because it is the random match series, so I should be picking the matches at random, I suppose, shouldn't I, really? I did consider at some point just literally pressing the random button and just having two people facing off against each other. That could work as well for a random match series, but there we go. And here we go, the first tag of the match, and it's Flair and Piper. Flair holding the arm of Larry Zbyszko as Piper hits that double axe handle, but Zbyszko straight back in control. Now, one thing I forgot to mention earlier on is this match is going to be elimination, so it's difficult because 9 times out of 10 when you get the first elimination you generally go on to win the match, because 2-on-1 is very difficult odds to overcome on this game, but it is possible. But I would say whoever gets the first elimination is probably going to be in a much stronger position. Piper now snake eyes on Arn Anderson. Anderson shaking a bit. Piper catches him, takes him up into, I was going to say a suplex. That was almost a brainbuster there, actually. It looked very much like a brainbuster. And Piper with a big right hands. Now up to the middle rope he goes. Looked like he was planning to go for a double elbows there, but Arn got back up to his feet and Piper changes his mind and goes for the axe handle. Piper went for the overhand club to the back, but Arn Anderson reverses with that back elbow, and there's a snap suplex on Piper. And I'll be interested to see if we do get a submission victory in this match even. That's the words I'm looking for. Of course, Flair. Is there an up-to-date Flair as well? I'm saying that I quite like having the old-fashioned Flair. But of course, Flair does use the figure 4 leg lock as his finisher maneuver. We haven't seen a submission win so far, even a submission elimination in this case. So far in the game, so it'd be nice to see if we do get one. We haven't had many people so far that do utilise submissions. We've had a few. We've had Charlotte trying to lock in her figure 8 and Sasha going for the bank statement. Becky with a disarmer. Apart from that, we're sort of struggling really to get submission victories. Maybe someone like Flair, we're very, very high rated. I think he's 91. If he uses the figure 4 leg lock, he might have a much bigger chance of picking up that victory. Flair now dropping into the pin. 1. I love how close the referees get on this year's game. It's almost like they're just slapping the guy being pinned in the face every time his hand goes down. I don't know if you have noticed, we are using a different referee in this one as well. There is actually a list of referees you can pick in this year's game, which is pretty cool. There's a Japanese referee, there's an old school referee, there's WCW referee, there's sort of like an Attitude Era referee, and this retro referee as well, who does have the retro logo on his shirt and his sleeve. Zbyszko there using a lot of strength to take Ric Flair down. Went for the kick to the back, but Flair avoids it, back up to his feet, and Zbyszko again with the boot to the back of the leg of Flair. And Zbyszko's strikes are really vicious, and now the guillotine sending the throat of Ric Flair into that bottom rope, and Zbyszko back across. I'll tell you what, the Enforcers are really working well together as a tag team here. Big back elbow, and now Arn, see, locking the arm behind the back of Ric Flair, then dropping his entire body weight across it. Arn with a knee to the face, now a stamp on the face as well. Anderson dragging Flair middle of the ring and just rubbing his face in the ring as well. No respect being shown here by Arn Anderson to his long-time friend Ric Flair. Elbow to the gut, and Flair taking Anderson down with that big shoulder block, showing off some power of his own. Flair front chancery, dragging Anderson into the middle of the rope. There is the trip, and then wrenching that leg back. Now that is Ric Flair warming Anderson up for a potential figure 4 leg lock, I would imagine. Now sending him into the corner. And here he is now tagging Roddy Piper in. Big boot to the gut there by Piper. And I'll tell you what, Flair and Piper working together very well with those double team tags. Piper now just wrenching the arm round and dropping a leg on the arm as well. I believe Piper's finisher may be the pile driver off the top of my head, which is a move that now is very much avoided because of how dangerous it once was. But now I think, I think back in the olden days, the power drive was utilised quite a lot. There's the neck breaker by Piper into the pin. 1, 2. Oh, that was close to being our first elimination. Piper almost eliminating Arn Anderson. Rake of the eyes there by Piper. Now Piper locking. Oh no, is Piper's finish of the sleeper hold? Or was that one of his signatures? I'm not 100% sure, to tell the truth. I'm not 100% sure. Piper just stamping on the back of Anderson, now just slamming the arm into the mat as well. We do have quite a big retro contingency on this game. We could possibly do a retro roster. Obviously, we've got... we would need to add a few. We'd need to add in, obviously, Hogan, but we've got Andre the Giant. We've got Earthquake and Typhoon. We've got Flair. We could have Piper as well. We've got Steamboat. We've got Macho Man. We really could have a pretty good... and the Bushwhackers, of course. We really could have a good retro roster, adding people like the Legion of Doom in there and Demolition. Piper's got his feet up on the ropes and Zbyszko does come in quickly enough to break that one up. Flair bringing Anderson back up to his feet, but Anderson playing possum there, now catching the arm of Piper. I called him Flair a second, didn't I? Piper flipping out of that backdrop, only to be caught once again by Anderson into that scoop slam with the arm behind the back. And the damage this is doing to the arm of Piper is pretty severe, and this could, if Piper wants to lock in that submission hold, the sleeper hold once again, he could struggle. So both the enforcers working really well on the arm. And the big right hand to the forehead of Piper. I wonder how easy Flair is to bust open on this game, because obviously in real life it's just like a tap. You just turn Ric Flair's head on and just pours with blood. A bit like a tap does, doesn't it, really? But yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially doing a retro roster. We could do that. We could even have a Horseman stable where... I don't know if we'd just do... We'd have to try and decide which level of retro we'd go for. Just a sort of date range. Because it'd be nice to have Flair, and it'd be nice to maybe have Bret Hart in there as well. But Bret, of course, was more early 90s and late 80s. We'd have to try and figure out what we wanted to do, really. Just I wouldn't want to say if we'd just take this specific point in time. I'd rather do it across a few years, maybe like up to 93 we could class as a retro roster, maybe. But I think that would give us a lot of things. We wouldn't just stick to WWE or WWF at the time. We could take some WCW guys as well that are around about that sort of time. We could have Retro Taker in there, the $1 Million Man as well. Get a bit of Virgil action. We've got Papa Shango this year as well, haven't we, from the Hall of Fame showcase? Means we've got the Godfather for our Attitude Era roster as well. That'd be pretty cool. Zbyszko now lining Roddy Piper up. Oh, the Piper reversing with that jawbreaker. Now locking in that sleeper hold once again. And Flair, come on, what is the AI with that? What is the AI where Flair runs in the complete opposite direction to the guy he's supposed to be coming in to stop? That makes little sense to me. There we go, that's a clever little bit of AI there. Piper taking the top off the turnbuckle pad, which is something he would probably do in real life. Now dropping into the pin on Zbyszko. Only a 1 count. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with the AI still in these matches. It's pretty shaky still. You just saw there, Flair came in. The whole point of Flair coming in would be to stop Arn Anderson getting to that submission hold. And Flair ran a complete opposite direction to where Arn Anderson was coming from. So that was a bit annoying. And I'm hoping at some point there will be a patch release that's going to fix a lot of these simple sort of writing errors. There's quite a few of them. There's the big spinebuster by Arn Anderson into the pin on Piper. 1, 2. Zbyszko takes out Flair, and there's our first elimination. Piper is out of this one, and it's now down to Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko taking on Ric Flair. That massive double A spinebuster by Anderson was enough to finish off Piper. Wow. Piper now sending Arn Anderson into the corner where Piper took the top turnbuckle pad off. Zbyszko comes in, and Flair just about managed to avoid that big axe handle, but Zbyszko now catches him with that boot. Zbyszko has to leave the ring now as the referee's going to disqualify him, and at the end of the day you don't want that to happen. I know it's an elimination match and it wouldn't end the match, but still you want to make sure you maintain that 2-on-1 advantage you currently have. Flair now dragging Anderson into the middle of the ring. And just dropping the knee into the face of Arn Anderson. The problem that Flair has now is as soon as he tries to take Arn Anderson out, you see Zbyszko is just going to come in unopposed and break up that pin. It's going to be very, very difficult here for Flair to do anything. He needs to take Zbyszko off the apron and then go for the pin. Oh, big elbow to the forehead. And I think, yes, I can just about see here, Arn Anderson has been busted open here by Ric Flair. Flair now tripping Anderson. And unless Anderson taps immediately from this figure 4, Zbyszko willing his partner to get back up. And Anderson rolls the submission over. And now Flair's locked in, but Flair does manage to release it. So again, unfortunately, another submission, another finishing submission move. And it didn't play out the way we intended. DDT by Arn Anderson on Ric Flair. And it's ironic to think you got Arn Anderson and Ric Flair in the ring, and one of them's peeing out with blood. You'd expect it to be Flair, wouldn't you, really? There's the pin. 1, 2. It's only a 2 count. Needs a little bit more here from Anderson to finish Ric Flair off, but it shouldn't take much. There's the tag, and in comes Larry Zbyszko. Zbyszko now dragging Flair into the middle of the ring, and he's going to follow up with another pin. Flair's a dead weight here. Referee is such a bad position there by the referee. He couldn't see the shoulders. All he could see was the testicles from that angle. Flair taking Zbyszko down. Big kick to the back as well. Can Flair pull this off? That would be incredible if he did. Shin breaker on Zbyszko. That's going to weaken the leg if Flair can lock in. Another figure 4 leg lock. There's a pin. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. Anderson obviously trusting his tag team partner there. Stays on the apron. Clubbing blow against the back, and now Flair does trip Zbyszko, looking for a potentially another figure 4, but the ring position is not very good here. Zbyszko very, very close to the ropes. Now Anderson does make his way in, but just as Anderson does make his way in to potentially break it, Zbyszko manages to roll it over, and Flair manages to break. So that's Flair locking in his submission hold twice now, and on both occasions, unfortunately for him, he's not managed to get the victory. So I don't know what to do. I think they should put something in the options that just allows submissions to be a bit more effective. I don't know whether if I drop down from legendary down to one of the other difficulty levels, whether submission victories might be easier to come across. I just don't know why. Oh, I wish they would have fixed this. I really do. Flair now he gets caught with a neck breaker by Zbyszko. Now in for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. A clean sweep for the enforcers. Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson pick up a tag team elimination match victory here over the team of Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. So a great victory for them. So of course, as I mentioned earlier on, this match was suggested by Fabian Schluter, so thank you very much for that suggestion, and please forgive me if I'm sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly, because I'm sure I've asked before in the past. But just in case I haven't pronounced it wrong, please let me know in the comment section for your future videos. Of course, if anyone else does have any suggestions for random matches, then please do drop them down in the comment section below as well. I'll get them added into the hat and hopefully pull them out and give you a shout out in the process. If you are new around here and you've enjoyed what you've seen, then please do hit that subscribe button for a lot more. I do upload, I'm trying to upload 2 of these a day at the moment. And of course, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button as well. I've been Shabby Gamer, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon for another random match.